to show you this. Did we grab this tweet from Torah Judaism? They're a interesting group. I believe they're based in Israel, but they are Jews united against Zionism. They're very much against Zionism. And they wrote this tweet, and I thought this was perhaps relevant to Elon's trip to Israel, because Elon had been called an anti-Semite. He'd been accused of anti-Semitism this whole time, from liking posts that were anti-Semitic in nature, or allowing all this anti-Semitism to, quote unquote, anti-Semitism to spread on X. And Torah Judaism writes, Elon Musk was taken to Israel by force and threats. Zionist lobbies intimidated him with advertising revenues and the weapon of anti-Semitism. What Zionists do is first declare someone an anti-Semite, then force them to support their interests. It's a manipulative tactic to get them into supporting Israel. Judaism is not Zionism. Zionism is not Judaism. Jews are not Zionists. Zionists are not Jews. Anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Israel is not our political nation state. Israel is not the country of the Jewish people. Zionism is a distortion of Judaism. But an interesting thought, that, and it's kind of true. He ends up, after being called an anti-Semite and he's being smeared as this, he quickly packs his bags and heads over to Israel and says, okay, I'm going to sit there with you and listen and then be on your side, because I don't want to be called an anti-Semite. It's one of the worst things that you could be called. At some point, I think people might get numb to it. It's kind of like being called a racist. For a long time, right when that was being thrown around, right after the 2016 Trump election, people that were called racist lost their jobs, they lost their livelihood, their friendships, their place in community. And it was a pretty terrible thing to be labeled. But then once people realized everybody was being called a racist for anything and everything, it lost its value, it lost its meaning, and it lost its power. And there might be a time when anti-Semitism reaches that same point where it loses its power, because anybody and everybody, if you're critical of Israel at all, just because Israel happens to be a majority Jewish nation, suddenly it's anti-Semitic. Do we say that about any other nation? Do we say if you criticize Saudi Arabia, you're now anti-Islamic? I mean, you've got a bunch of Islamic people criticizing Saudi Arabia. Are they self-hating Islamists? Is that how that works? Self-hating Muslims? We criticize Christian nations all the time. We criticize Russia. Does that make us anti-Christian because Russia is a majority Christian nation? Same thing for Ukraine. If you criticize Ukraine, are you anti-Christian? Maybe you're anti-Semitic because it just so happens the president of Ukraine is also Jewish. I don't know. This doesn't work for any other country, but it only works for one, which is why it shouldn't work at all. And maybe it will lose its power in the process. We'll see. But Elon Musk held captive, or he does his, held hostage in Israel, according to Torah Judaism, or he did his pilgrimage and he'll come back a changed and converted man. I don't know. We'll see.